American portion sizes are designed to shock you, and if you have eaten at a restaurant in Europe your whole life, the plate that arrives in front of you is sized for one person with a reasonable appetite. You eat it, you feel satisfied, you go home. And if you have eaten at a restaurant in America, you know that basically none of that applies here, because the plate that arrives is sometimes large enough to feed two people, the side dish is the size of a European main course, and the drink that comes with it is so large that European visitors to America this summer posted videos of themselves holding it with two hands in genuine disbelief. Same concept, completely different philosophy about what a meal is actually supposed to be. Before we get into it, drop your answer to this in the comments right now. How many times larger is the average American fast food meal today compared to when it was first introduced in the 1950s? The real number is going to change how you think about every fast food meal you have ever eaten. Researchers from the University of Pennsylvania and CNRS in Paris decided to find out exactly how different American and European portion sizes actually are by doing something nobody had thought to do before. They weighed portions at 11 comparable restaurant pairs in Paris and Philadelphia, covering everything from fast food outlets to pizzerias to ice cream parlors to Chinese and Indian restaurants. The results, published in the journal Psychological Science, were genuinely unambiguous. Paris portions were on average 25% smaller than Philadelphia. The same candy bar sold in France was 41% smaller than its American equivalent. A single serving soft drink was 52% larger in America. Yogurt was 82% larger. A typical American coffee runs between 16 and 20 ounces, while a standard French cafe is 6 to 8 ounces at most, and a medium drink at a European McDonald's is roughly equivalent to a small in the United States. These are not small differences at the margins, but the result of decades of deliberate expansion in American food culture built around a simple belief that bigger always means better value, what researchers now call supersizing culture. The transformation happened within living memory, and honestly, most Americans have no idea how dramatic it has been. The average fast food restaurant meal today is 4 times larger than it was in the 1950s. A bagel from a New York bagel shop is now up to 5 times larger and contains significantly more calories than the bagels originally introduced to America by Jewish immigrants in the early 20th century. When fast food hamburgers were first introduced, they were the size of what is now included in kids' meals. Morgan Spurlock documented this escalation in Supersize Me, the documentary that introduced millions of people to the concept of supersizing as a named cultural phenomenon. The expansion happened gradually, driven by competition between restaurants offering better perceived value, by the agricultural abundance of American farmland producing cheap ingredients at enormous scale, and by a cultural philosophy that genuinely equates generosity with large quantities of food. Professor Paul Rozin of the University of Pennsylvania captured it precisely when he noted that while the French eat more fat than Americans, they probably eat slightly fewer calories overall, a phenomenon researchers call the French paradox, and that difference compounded over years amounts to substantial differences in weight. Cornell researcher Brian Wansink explored the psychology behind this in his mindless eating research, finding that people eat more simply because more food is placed in front of them without ever feeling proportionally more satisfied. Americans consume an average of 3,682 calories per day, well above the recommended daily value of 2,000 calories according to CDC dietary guidelines and USDA nutritional data. European fans arriving in America for the World Cup this summer encountered portion sizes as one of the most talked about culture shock moments of the entire tournament, right alongside the roads, the air conditioning, and the tipping culture. Videos went viral of European visitors holding American soft drinks with two hands, staring at plates of food that looked designed for a table of 4 rather than a single diner, and discovering that a side dish in America is roughly the same size as a main course back home. Remitly confirmed that a single main course in America is usually enough food to satisfy one very hungry person or comfortably feed 2 lighter eaters. For fans from France, Italy, Germany, and Spain, countries where portion sizes are calibrated for one person to eat with enjoyment rather than endurance, the American restaurant experience was genuinely overwhelming in a way that was honestly hard to explain until you actually sat down in front of the plate yourself. And the drinks were their own separate discovery entirely. A standard large coffee in America exceeds 20 ounces, which is roughly the size of a wine bottle. The largest sodas available at American fast food chains hold up to 64 ounces, which is 2 full liters of liquid, and come with free refills on top of that. The free refill policy does not exist in European restaurants because the portions are already sized to be sufficient, and the concept of unlimited anything strikes most Europeans as genuinely unusual. A British fan at a World Cup venue in Texas described ordering what he assumed would be a normal-sized Coca-Cola and receiving something he could only describe as a bucket. He drank about a third of it and left the rest. The server offered him a refill. He genuinely did not understand what that meant at first. And here is the detail that captures the full cultural gap better than any of the statistics. The researchers in the Paris and Philadelphia comparison study found that Parisians spent an average of 22 minutes eating at their local McDonald's compared to just 14 minutes for Philadelphians. The French took 8 minutes longer to eat a smaller meal. The American approach to food is not just about quantity, but about speed, value, and the deeply held belief that more of something is always an improvement on less of it. The European approach is about quality, moderation, and the idea that the point of a meal is not to be as full as possible when you leave, but to have genuinely enjoyed what you ate while you were there. Two completely different philosophies, two completely different plates, and one question that European visitors kept asking at American restaurants this summer, which is whether all of this is really just for one person. All right, let us go back to the question from the start. How many times larger is the average American fast food meal today compared to when it was first introduced in the 1950s? The answer is 4 times larger, confirmed by Infographics Archive. 4 times. The hamburger that launched the entire American fast food industry was the size of what is now a kid's meal. Everything you see on the menu today, every large combo, every supersized option, every value meal designed to feel like a deal is 4 times the size of what the original founders of that industry considered a normal portion of food. And European visitors to America this summer discovered that fact one overwhelming plate at a time. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think American portion sizes are a sign of generosity and good value? Or do you think Europe has the right idea with smaller, more carefully considered meals? And if you are European and you sat down to your first American restaurant meal this summer, what was your portion size culture shock story when the plate arrived? Drop it in the comments, because this one is going to divide the room between people who want more and people who think more is already too much. If you liked this video, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the culture clash between Europe and America never stops at the dinner table. And always remember, whether you are European or American, the culture clash between our two worlds never gets old. I'll see you on the next one.